Welcome to Dry Arabia and this Age of Empires forecasted game with Sassy spawning in the south corner of the map in red, playing as the Malians. His opponent today in the north, Kiljardi, playing in green as the Ottomans. Welcome in what will prove to be a classic match because it's a classic map. The Age of Empires 4 Dry Arabia never disappoints. And well, with two of the newer civilizations in Age of Empires 4, this matchup's going to be interesting. And, well, speaking of new civilizations, we will be getting new civilizations in Age of Empires 4 very, very soon. A new DLC, The Sultan's Ascent, it will be called, featuring, I believe, new civilizations. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to rejuvenate the scene. Many more matchups to deal with, many more analytics to go through about the civilization matchups and maps. And heck, just good new units. New breath of fresh air to Age of Empires 4 coming very soon. But speaking of breath of fresh air, these villagers, well, they had to get out. They're going to have to get out of these houses because that is being torched down. And you can see already the barracks up and running for Kiljardi. Going to get the stone for the military school, which will produce those free units for the Ottomans. And he's really piling on the pressure. He wants to get rid of these houses, reduce the amount of gold income coming in. And it's forced Sassy into a military building of his own with the barracks to get some Donsos. Now, the Donsos should generally fare well because they've got the sort of a range attack that you can see here. It's counting down now. It will actually be able to throw a javelin after a second, so probably should take a hit and then he's going to save the villager. Oh, he saves the villager nicely, but wants to back away from that situation, wants to try and keep the house alive for as long as possible. You just saw the javelin being thrown there, and here comes another Donso, sending another villager to repair the house as well. Sassy will want to keep that alive for as long as possible. We'll lose a Donso though. First blood comes out there. Oh no, he doesn't. He microed it well. Holy smokes, he actually got out of it, but no, I think Kiljardi will focus on that and he does get rid of it in the end. So, troubled times for the Malians, which they haven't necessarily gone through in history, at least not in terms of wealth. I mean, Mansa Musa, known to be one of the most, I guess, richest person in the world. I mean, there's actually no proven documentary evidence of that, but, I mean, he's supposed to be a very wealthy person. I think we all know that much. I don't think there's any actual documentation about how much wealth he ever actually owned in total. But, of course, he's known to be a very wealthy person. Might be an even trade there. Oh, no, the Ottomans lost the spearman. He's going to try and chase that down, backs away, and, well, Sassy should be able to get a javelin throw there. Nicely done. And Sassy should be able to get a spearman kill here. He's going to back away for now. On the back of this, he does have the military school, so the good thing for the Ottomans is going to continue the unit production. Now, something to consider and to discuss about the civilization matchup, that's really what we want to do. We kind of got sidetracked by how much action was going on there for a second, but, well, the Malians have had a couple of changes. You know, they've got a few things that have changed with the meta and how they play. Cow booming seems to be a thing. It's very, very strong because the cows themselves, they passively generate food when they are kind of fixed in the pastures. Or the, I don't know what they're called. What are they called now? I don't think they're called pastures. They're called the ranch. Yeah, the cattle ranch. That's what it is. And so that's interesting because they don't actually take population space. So it's kind of a food gathering resource without taking population space. It's really, really strong. It's going to go up with the Mansa Quarry. But the only concern with this matchup, going for cow boom, it does take some time for it to pay back. And, well, against the Ottomans, that's often what you don't have. You don't have much time because they can really get online with military very quickly. Bit of long distance gathering of berries for some reason. Going to go for sheep now. I think he ran out of sheep temporarily. In any case, so the Malians today, I think, are going to be under a lot of pressure. The Ottomans are going to be pressuring with the military that they get for free through the military school. It's kind of what they do best. I think the Ottomans will look to try and push feudal age for as much as possible, for as long as possible. And I think really for Sassy, his priority is going to be producing enough units in the feudal age to defend, but also walling up to protect. Oh yeah, we already see it happening. Holy moly. So very early walls. I don't know about how good early walls are in this situation, because it's going to be a lot of wood investment. That might actually cripple him in terms of army production. We'll see. It will delay any sort of strong push coming in from the Ottomans if he can get them up in time. But that is the important question. 2 Donsos on the map. Going to be looking just to see what value you can get. Twin Minaret Madrasa, the landmark of choice for the Ottomans. Very commonly done now. Trade has taken a hit a little bit for all the civilizations. It's only really Mongols that seem to be doing it. And they seem to be doing it pretty well at the moment, to be fair. But so, yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. I think the Ottomans want to do a lot of damage in the feudal age, and the Malians just want to stay alive with the cattle boom, the cow boom. Unless things change, it could be for Rim Garrison, the landmark which produces units for the Malians just costing gold. But I wouldn't anticipate that. I think this kind of has to pan out where the Malians want to try and boom, get an economy, so they can try and outmass the Ottomans in sort of the mid to late game. The trouble for the Ottomans, or going up against the Ottomans, is this is whether if you can survive. I mean, that's the key bit of information. Like, will you be able to survive the Ottomans' push, which is inevitably coming? We will have to see. Speaking of pushing, I mean, I am doing a lot of casting for Age of Empires 4 at the moment. I'm hoping to become a full-time content creator. I would love any sort of support you can give. Just sharing the videos, giving the videos a thumbs up, engaging with comments. That's probably the best way to help me out, which is totally free, of course. And I have actually started up some channels for other games, including Stormgate and Zero Space. So those are two upcoming RTS games which I'm super excited about. If you enjoy my content and the style of my content, I'd really recommend checking those channels out if you're interested in the game. If you're not, then don't bother, because I won't be posting any other content on those channels apart from those games. So they're game dedicated channels, and so it just means that I'll keep this channel always for Age of Empires 4, so you guys will never be pestered with any other games sort of being flooding your feed, your YouTube feed. It's always going to be Age of Empires 4 casted games. So if you haven't subscribed and you enjoy the content, make sure you do, because there's plenty more content coming your way. Speaking of content, well, Kiljardi will want to have a lot of units to try and fill the map with, because he's going to want to try and deny these walls, and he's done it. He's got the scout there, spearman. It's something that Sassy will now get a notification for. In fact, he may not have noticed because the villager actually went idled. It doesn't show up as an idle villager. It's really an awkward mechanic where the villager is technically idle, but doesn't highlight it to the player because it's kind of trying to build. In any case, the Ottomans have found a way in, and the reason why I was saying how early walls like this is a little bit tricky, because if you have one gap, one hole, whether it's forced or not, it becomes a little bit more tricky. Now, it does mean that the Ottomans have to go the long way around, but it buys a little bit of time, but it's a significant wood investment and villager time to build it as well. Looking to get that second pit mine. The kind of concern for Sassy is that this is going to be the target, and that will deny a bit of gold income coming in for Sassy if that gets pushed. We'll have to see. 10 military to 6, and it does appear that, well, feudal age is on the cards. Feudal age pressure. Here comes a secondary military score. Going to build the blacksmith as well. We're just going to move the military score a little bit further so we can squeeze another production building there. Now, the idea about the blacksmith is it actually increases the production speed of all the other production buildings around it. Whether it be, you know, stable blacksmith, stable barracks or archery range, doesn't really matter. Or military school as well. And that will help him pump out those units. Now, we'll be expecting to see a villager to finish this wall. It does look like it's going to happen now. And we can already hear cows coming out. Cattle coming out. There's the first cattle ranch being built. For the Malians, the cow boom will be underway very soon. And this is where things will start to get interesting. So, almost 9 minutes into the game. Decisions have been made. The Ottomans looking to pile on the pressure with military units, going out to the deer pack now. Now, the nice benefit for the Ottomans in this situation is they can actually do this. Like, very unarmed. They don't have to worry about being pushed, really, at this point. You take deer packs nice and safely. A nice bit of economy boost for him. A very fast source of food. While he pressurizes on the front, keeps the Malians at home. But the Malians are an interesting civilization. They're very unique. The fact that they've got some very unique units in terms of the Donso, which can actually throw the spears, as you just saw there. And they've also got the javelin throwers, which do great against archers. And so Donso, javelin archers can be a very strong combination, but it is very static in terms of mobility. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of sofas coming out from the stable. We'll see. Maybe even warrior scouts. It's interesting how the Malians used to go professional scouts quite often, but of course now with the cow boom, it's not really something that they need to do. So you now see another archery range coming out for the Ottomans. Neck and knock on villages, but we say that, but the economy will be stronger for the Malians. And that is because of the food economy. We'll just switch over to that now. The food economy, check it out with the cow boom. Not many cows just yet, only 6, but it seems like the Ottomans just have a little bit of an edge on the berries on the landmark that they have, the twin minaret madrasa. And the Malians now are going to look to try and push this away, because it's quite a large force here coming in for the Ottomans, and I wouldn't be surprised to see siege engineering coming in soon if he hasn't got it already here for Kiljardi and getting some rams. In fact, it might be the next thing he queues up. We'll have to see. There's a decent amount of wood coming in. I suspect it potentially could, because he's clearly getting a lot of villagers on wood, maybe to fund those rams, although he did just spend a bunch. A couple of houses. 36 villagers apiece, and nice addition of the imams there, using of the vizier point. So unique mechanic for the Ottomans. They can hear the little gong there, you just heard that. Allows them to have several bonuses that they can choose for. 2 of them, or 1 of them being getting 2 imams. Makes the engagement here. Now the imams will change this fight quite significantly because of the healing. So Sassy decides to back off for now. Doesn't want to engage until he has more. And he's actually been walled in, which is kind of nice for Sassy, although he's not going to be able to deliver a killer blow. And he should be able to open this up now, the Ottomans. Double the military. So whilst Sassy has the cow boom going on, the economy is going to start to get really strong for the Malians. The trouble for Sassy is, in the meantime, the Ottomans have been producing 3 units. This military school toggled on to Sipahi, and this one are going to get a meta, which will be increasing the attack speed of the units within the aura. There's the 3rd military school as well. So the vizier point has been spent, I believe, on the military school. And that's going to get even more units. Now what's interesting is that the Malians could often go for fast castle, but not really against the Ottomans, that's for sure. To get those relics, that could be a thing that is considered later on in the game, but I think in this matchup really it's going to be heavy feudal age for both players. And it's going to be a case of Malians probably trying to survive versus what's going to be a very strong push very soon. You can see almost double the number of units. And that's a fearsome sight, actually. I'm a bit concerned for the Malians and Sassy. He's getting an outpost, which will actually give him some vision and some protection. Has an idle villager there. Carrying a nice set of ribs, I think there. Very nice food. Okay, well, the pit mine will go down. I wonder whether Sassy will actually challenge that. In any case, he's going to try and get some raiding value of his own, which is not a bad idea because he probably is aware that his opponent is not walled up, rather. Staying open, does garrison the villagers inside the deer camp. The spearman is on hand, so should be able to take out that Sufa. Just only 1 spearman though, so I'm not sure about this fight for the Ottomans, but it does deal a decent amount of damage. 2 archers will now perish. The outpost getting some value with the arrows fired. Should be able to pick one off. 1 more left. Spearman going to continue the chase, but here comes a push on the south, looking to take out that voice. Has taken out the pit mine already. Now going to take out the houses. Now the houses are cheaper for the Malians, but they also only house 5 villages inside them, so they do have to build them a bit more often, but it kind of helps when they want to try and surround the pit mines. There are a couple of gold veins here that you could potentially take with pit mines. Suffer going to be diving in on the wood line. Doesn't take a villager out just yet. Does lose a Suffer though, so 1 first blood has been taken for Kiljardi already, taking 1 villager out. And the archers in good numbers. A couple of javelin throws, but perhaps not enough. Now that he sees the Tull outpost, I wonder whether Kiljardi, he's going to get siege engineering, so we'll be looking to get some rams on the field very soon. And hopefully push that, well, for his sake anyway, push that Tull outpost. Now rams have been very strong recently, especially when you go kind of equal numbers of military against it, because it's very difficult to defend. You have to use villagers and it always leaves them exposed. We'll see. Okay, now double stable as well. There's going to be a lot of Sipahi coming up pretty soon. Maintaining the 4 villages on the twin minaret madrasa. Continuing to have 3 villages on gold as well. That'd be a nice trickle of gold for the upgrades that you will want to get from the blacksmith and the eco upgrades. Not to mention maybe slight edge towards the castle edge if it comes to that. I mean, it could be a potential thing where both players are a bit of a stalemate. But with 55 military to 35, well, the Malians have caught up a little bit in production. I think it's funded primarily because of the cow boom. Look at the food coming in. Almost 1,000 food per minute compared to about 800. So that's a nice sizable lead there for Sassy, and he does have a villager lead, surprisingly enough. It might be a bit of idle time. May have caused, well, it must be some idle time. Because, well, Kiljardi hasn't had any losses of villagers. Spearmen do dive in. The ram's going to follow up with taking out the Tull outpost first, I believe. A decent number of Donsos and Javelin Throwers. So we talked about how Javelin Thrower Donso could be the army choice. And that's indeed the case. Does have a couple of Suffolk going to look to dive around those archers. 2 imams are being sniped primarily by the archers. And the 2 imams go down, which they do. That's going to leave this army pretty bare. Does have large numbers though. 51 to 28. I'm not sure all of it is here. The ram's going to maybe look to take out the blacksmith, but I think this army is gone. There's too many javelin throwers. Are so good against these archers from the Ottomans, and back at home the Ottomans are being taken. Well, I thought for a second he may have lost a couple of villages, but it doesn't seem so. Just only 1 so far. The 2 Sofa have been taken apart by the spearmen, nicely positioned there for the Ottomans. Looking to get textiles as well. He's not going to take any risks. He understands that, well, the Sassy might look to try and raid him. He's pretty open, not having spent any wood on palisades. The rams are going to be taken down. They're going to be taken out and destroyed. Got some value. Did take out the blacksmith and the Tull outpost. So it didn't necessarily do nothing, but the military numbers are pretty even. And Sassy does have the better economy, although having said that, the food income not great. It looks like he's just relying solely on the cattle. Though it does have 17 villages on food apparently somewhere. Interesting. It's in the south. It's in the deer. That's where it is. So that food income will climb back up again. I think it just dropped for temporarily because of the the walking time that they had. You can see now it's really boosting up to match the Ottomans. Takes an engagement. Sofa do dive against the Sipahi. He backs off there. Archers get a good few hits off and does take out a Sofa on the retreat. We're heading into almost the 17th minute of the game. Might be looking to snipe another Sofa. Pretty well upgraded there with the iron undermesh upgrade from the blacksmith. Makes them a little bit more tankier, a little bit stronger against arrow fire coming in from the Ottoman archers. The outpost should survive. Villagers should survive inside as well. Suffolk looking to try to take some villagers on the gold vein. Does manage to retreat those villagers without too many casualties. And the Suffolk are going to die for cheaply here. They're going to pretty much die for free. Going to maybe harass the berries now. But what this is doing is allowing Sassy to maybe get a bit of breathing space back at home. Just work onto the economy and build up that cattle boom as we can see here. Yeah, with only 5 villagers on food at the moment. For the Malians, it's going to be quite reliant on the cattle. Looking to get a pit mine on the east as well, which I don't think kiljardi sees, otherwise I don't think he'll let that happen. Sipahi and the Meta just poking and prodding, seeing what's what, seeing where he can attack next perhaps. He's now out to berries there, Sassy, so doesn't really quite have enough just to rely on the cattle. Wants to take the free food on the map. Kind of a bit of a lull in the game at the moment. I think kiljardi coming in for another wave of attack. 55 military to 28. Where does he attack? Does he attack straight down the middle? Could be a potential. Looks like it might be the case. Will he see the berries, actually? If he sees the villagers on berries, which he does, well, good reaction by Sassy. Decent number of Sipahi with the Meta involved. The villagers do back off there for Sassy. Only lost 1 villager so far. A nice palisade walling to protect the wood line towards that tall outpost. But almost double the military again. More rams can be coming out for kiljardi. And another ram rush is on the cards from the Ottomans. They just never let up. Can be getting a market now here, Sassy, just to equalize the economy. Getting plenty of gold, perhaps more than he needs. Just traded them some for some wood there, it looks like. Alright, so we've got a decent number of military units here for Sassy. Especially with the defender's advantage, he might be able to hold, but there is a strong push coming in. 72 military. And that's going to keep rising with 3 units. Is now looking to get horticulture just to boost that economy just a little bit more for the Ottomans. Breaks through that palisade very quickly with the ram. Coming in from the east side. We hear another vizier point coming in. Another ram going to be built by the spearmen and the infantry at least. Sipahi might just dive this, but there are a couple of donsos. The archers need to get there. The archers need to focus on the donsos. If they do, then those Sipahis might just run in and, yeah, good picking off there. About 4 or 5 donsos just went down there. Looks like Tall Outpost going to be rushed up with villagers. Not a bad idea. It adds to the defensive stability. The donsos are just walking into the arrow fire, and the Sipahi do engage us kind of temporarily. I'm not sure why Sassy backed off there. I mean, he may have lost the fight overall, but could have taken a decent trade. Trouble for him now is that the tall posts are going to be coming down next because of the rams. No villagers can torch that down. The archers focusing on the donsos. If the donsos go down, javelin throws will be exposed. Sipahi are going to be diving on the javelin throws next. I don't think there are that many donsos there. Fortunately for Sassy, he's going to have to back off. I think, and this is bad news for Sassy, he's going to lose a lot. Well, the Ottomans probably going to take down the tall outpost, and if that happens, villagers will go down. Decent number of javelin throwers, but he's being countered by the Sipahi. And a couple of Sofa coming in from the north, coming in through that wood line. This is a problematic situation. The Sipahi focusing on the javelin throwers. There are a couple of spearmen there for the Ottomans, going to focus on the Sofas. And there's not a lot that Sassy can do about this push, it seems. He's going to need to find a way to get back into the game. 46 military to 14. And this is hard for Sassy. kiljardi at this point idling a decent chunk of the economy for Sassy. He's killed a lot of villagers, 21 of them. Holy smokes, he's killed a lot, and it's because of the villagers dying in the outposts. That's absolutely huge. A lot of economy loss for the Malians. He does have the cow boom still up and running. Got to factor that in, but he has lost a lot. Looks like now Kiljardi just going to camp out here. Just sit on the production, try and snipe as many of the units as possible. The back of this, it might be the case that Kiljardi decides to go to the castle edge. I wouldn't be surprised. He's done a lot of damage. He's got a lot of worker kills. And his economy's looking strong. Might need to just get rid of some wood, actually. He's got a lot of wood. The market could be good for trading here and just equalising that economy and getting to that castle age. He could also think about dropping a siege workshop, although he's probably going to go up with the Mehmed Imperial Armory. And here comes the farming transition. So that's what he's going to spend the wood on. 8 fits around a mill, 2 mills. He's got 16 farms in total, and it's going to be the Mehmed Imperial Armory. Surprised not to see that there under the influence of a blacksmith, but in any case, he might rebuild a blacksmith closer to it. Oh, village is going to go down on the gold here for Sassy. Oh, maybe not. He didn't spot it. Oh, he did now. Kiljardi, a little bit too late. Has to go around the mining camp. Should be able to pick off at least 1, possibly 2. Second town centre coming out for Sassy. He knows he's lost a little bit too much. Wants to try and hold on in this game. That's going to be a tricky situation to do so. I mean, it does have a bit of static defense with that. Going to lose even more villagers. 29 villagers down. This is looking terrible for Sassy. Especially because of the fact, well, now the Ottomans have a better economy, but they also have military production, and they are in the castle age. Looking good in this game so far for Kiljardi and the Ottomans. Pressure has paid off. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the casted games on the channel. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you are enjoying them. And then, of course, you will get those notifications. Make sure you hit the ring the notification bell as well. Just so that you get the notifications when you want to catch some videos or some Age of Empires 4 content. Alright, well, we see the spy dive in on the suffer. There's only 2 suffer there with the spearmen. Those guys are going to need to back off. They do eventually, but loses a bit of HP. And now it's going to wall around the wood. The nice thing for the Ottomans is it does mean that now Sassy has been kept at home. Kiljardi's been in the castle age for quite a period of time. He's getting those upgrades now as well. Not only has the ability to get blacksmith upgrades, but he's going to get the veterancy as well for his archers. It seems at this point, 48 seconds before that comes in, and this is a window of opportunity for the Malians to push. I think the concern for the Malians at this stage is the Malians need to find a way to get to that castle age. Otherwise, it's going to be facing up against a castle age army just with feudal age units. It does snipe a Sipahi on the retreat, which is really nice work. But interestingly, for the dynamic of this game, is that, well, with the Ottomans now in the castle age, he's going to produce castle age units, potentially get sacred sites, potentially get those relics. But more importantly, he's got the lead time on the upgrades. And because he's got such a big lead time, he can mass up an army, which a lot of them will be free, by the way. As you can see, Lancers coming out from 3 military schools. And it gives the Malians a big problem, because if Sassy decides to go to the castle age, we've talked about it time and time again on the channel, you know, when you age up to the next age, it leaves you very prone, and it's a very risky situation. Because it gives a signal to your opponent to attack. Because they want to attack before your upgrades come in. Your castle age upgrades come in, that is. And if they take a fight without your upgrades coming in, they're almost always going to win. Unless they have very poor numbers, which, well, the Ottomans never really have. They never really have poor military numbers. It's very difficult to find that situation unless they're really throwing away military. Speaking military, they are heading across the middle of the map, and you can just see how much of the map control that Kiljardi has. A couple of Suffer heading north. Might be able to pick off a decent number of villagers, though. Kiljardi has killed 31. Only 1 has been lost for him. But that's about to change. Decent number of villagers will go down. Kiljardi will use that as an opportunity to attack the wood line, or at least break through at the wood line. Well, this is painful. I'm not sure many of these villagers actually survive. The Suffer going to charge in, maybe snipe the weak one. Trying to get a surround on them. Ooh, that's painful. Yeah, that is painful. He's lost quite a bit there, but the Sipahi coming into the rescue. Sofa do back away. We can hear some relics now being picked up by the Ottomans. Trying to break in through now on the left side. Was planning to get Toll outpost, but decides better of it. Denies the deer pack. It's actually quite significant. Ooh, that might not be enough Sipahi here, actually. The Sofa might win that fight. Another... Well, the farm's never got built, actually. He's setting some villages there now, but the Sofa win that fight, and he might pick off some of the other military units that are there, but 57 military to 41. And don't forget, this is Castle Age versus Feudal Age. Sassy needs to hold on. But it's not just holding on this feud, this castle age push by kiljardi. It's going to be an onslaught because it's just going to be pressure, pressure, pressure. I don't think the Ottomans ever really give up here. It is going to be the Grand Fulani Coral, which is going to increase the food coming in from the cow boom, but I'm not sure. I mean, he needs time. That's what Sassy needs. He needs time to stabilize the economy, stabilize the military production, and go from there. He does have 2 town centers, so that villager lead for the Ottomans will start to narrow, but this is looking rough for the Malians. It looks like it's going to come down to a timing push for the Ottomans. If the Ottomans push in hard now, this could be curtains for the Malians. I suspect what's going to happen. I think kiljardi's just waiting. He's waiting. He's playing with his food, toying with his food, waiting for his opponent to go to that castle age and then diving in. He's got 78 military. Not many in the way of castle age blacksmith upgrades, surprisingly enough. But it is what it is. He's going to dive in now. The castle age comes in for Sassy. That is the signal for kiljardi to push forward. Has doubled the military. Decent number of archers. I think the archers need to focus on the Don, so if that happens, that'll be very, very nice for him. Now, does have a mangonel as well. Likely to have come from the Mehmed Imperial Armory. That could be very dangerous. Although, he needs to keep it protected. Sassy will want to try and dive on that somehow if he can. The trouble is, can he get close? That's the real question. 89 military to 41. Sassy slowly losing some units. Going to be fighting underneath the 2 town centers, but there's nothing garrisoned inside this one. Nothing garrisoned inside this one either, so these town centers are actually not offering huge amounts of damage output in terms of a defensive presence. Here comes the aggression. Mangonel shot gets fired off. Going to be surrounded by the Sipai. The Sipai do dive against the Donsos. Donso's going to dive in, and if they don't take out the Mangonel, they're at least going to get some good damage against cavalry. But on the back of that, the javelin thrower is going to focus on the archers. Takes out the meta, but the Mangonel survives on its last limbs. Only 13 HP, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Sassy loses his army. And well, what a fantastic game of Age of Empires 4 with the Ottomans winning on Dry Arabia against the Malians.